Hi, Valerie. Welcome to the Integrative Health Coach Success Podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, our pleasure. Thanks for being here. And I'm looking forward to us kind of talking about a little bit of how you're incorporating your IHP certification. It's kind of something that I have a past with as well. So I think we're going to have a great conversation. What I would love to do to start is, could you share with our listeners a little bit about what you're currently doing with your IHP certification?
Sure. So currently, I have my own business that I created after I became certified. So it's Live Fit Journey. And through that, I have local clients, and I've also integrated it with my personal training clients as well.
That's great. So you're still personal training, and you kind of use your IHP certification to supplement all obviously client workouts and whatnot.
Yeah. So I was working at a gym, and so in the gym, my training style and just the things that I recommend nutritionally were all based on really IHP. I really believe in the foundations of the program, and I had a really great boss who allowed each trainer to be a bio individual as well. So I've kind of branded myself as kind of a holistic personal trainer. And so at the gym, I'm able to do that. And then just in my community, word of mouth, really, I got started with the detoxes, getting involved in community events and, just kind of promoting myself. So now within my business, I'm able to, go outside the gym and work within community, friends, and family.
Oh, that's great. So you're doing a little bit of health coaching where it's like a little bit more health coaching detox.
Right.
And you're still doing the, I love that, holistic personal trainer. That's how I would have identified if I didn't transition as soon as I did.
Yeah. I think it's, it sets me apart, and it also kind of represents what I believe in. And so it may be different than what someone else may have experienced. I'm not necessarily going to recommend all this training or, all this protein and stuff. So it is definitely a different approach to it.
Yeah, that's great. And so have you always been in the health and wellness space, as far as like, have you always been personal training and that's what you were doing up until the time where you found IHP?
So I started running track at 6 and quickly became a competitive runner. I ran track in college. And so I've always been surrounded by fitness and sports. In college, I majored in health promotion and recreation. And then I got my master's in public health. And I started personal training back in college. It just felt comfortable. It just felt like, that was the space I belonged, and I loved it. So I started personal training. I did group fitness as well. And then I was in Ohio. I moved to Georgia, still within that space and doing some more, public health things. And then actually in college, I developed alopecia and didn't know anything other than go to the dermatologist and, get injections. And so kind of, I did that for about 10 years, managed it. And then after I had my daughter, I lost all the hair on my body and again, went to the dermatologist. And at that point they were like, you have 1% chance of getting your hair back. There's nothing we can do for you. There's no cure. And that just didn't sit right with me. And so I just started researching, and I found actually the autoimmune protocol diet. And that's when I discovered like, oh, there's a whole new world, like, holistic and natural healing, and just that you can heal your body. So that was in 2017. And then I found Dr. Cabral's podcast in 2018 and was just blown away by all the information. And so after kind of listening to him, he launched his IHP, and I said, that's what I need to do to kind of really go further and deepen what I want to do for myself and also help other people.
Yeah. Wow. And so did you end up kind of going on your own health journey and figuring out the alopecia and moving through like protocols on your own and whatnot?
Yeah, so I was actually able to find a functional medicine doctor in Atlanta, where I am. And I did hormone tests, I did parasite testing, found a whole slew. I had candida, I had parasites, I had Epstein-Barr. I had a whole list of things that I had no idea I was really suffering with. And so through that, I was able to grow back my eyelashes, my eyebrows. I wear wigs just because my hair is still pretty patchy. And, I just kind of feel more comfortable. But just seeing that, your body can heal. And so that just made me really more passionate to let everybody else know, like, there's a whole nother side to healing your body.
Yes. Yeah. So many IHPs, their story, the point where, the direction changes is when the doctor says, sorry, there's nothing you can do. Like, this is it. And, the patient or the now IHP says, that doesn't sit well with me. So many people say like, that was just not, the answer wasn't good enough for me. So I dug deeper, tried to find answers on my own. And like you said, once you know what's possible, it's hard to not want to share it with others.
Yeah. And even as a child, I had eczema, I had rashes, I had stomach issues. So I was really suffering for much longer than I really knew. And even just changing my diet it cleared my eczema within 2 months. And I had eczema my whole life. And so just taking out like the gluten and dairy and corn and those type of triggers, really, made me a believer, because sometimes, seeing is believing.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I would love to kind of go back to something that you had mentioned when I first asked you what you were doing, as far as kind of, you said that other trainers, might not be, or other trainers might be doing high protein, or they might be doing this kind of workout. I would love to hear how you incorporate your IHP stuff into your personal training. When you say holistic personal trainer, what does that kind of look like? What do you put as, priorities that maybe other trainers aren't putting as priorities, as far as, the health and wellness of your client is concerned? And then I'd love to, at some point, talk a little bit about your experience as an athlete and how that kind of ties into the IHP stuff too. But let's start with when, you're training, and whether, is it mostly females, or do you train both men and women?
It's mostly females, and it's mostly females. We have some guys, but they're a little bit more shy, I think, to want to talk about nutrition and things like that. So it's mostly female based. And before I became an IHP, though, I was working at another facility, and they were really adamant about, getting in a lot of protein. Not to say protein is bad, but the women that I was coming across were still having issues. They were still struggling with sleep and hormones and mood and motivation. And so it just didn't sit right with me that the only thing we were telling them was, eat more protein, eat these 6 meals a day. And that was kind of when I was starting the IHP. And there would even be women who they wouldn't even get a lot of sleep that night, but they would make sure that they're at the 5:30 a.m. workout. And to me, sleep is going to be important. Really, you have to prioritize sleep really before that workout. So for me, how I integrate it is really mindset. What's motivating you? What are some things that challenge you? Things that maybe you have to work through. What is your why for working out? It can't just be the number on the scale or a certain size, and if it is, well, what will that mean for you? Also, again, prioritizing that sleep. Are you getting at least 6 hours of sleep? And really, 7 or 8 is what we're aiming for. Supplements. Are you supporting your hormones? Also, your stress levels. Like we all have stress. We can't avoid stress, but how are we managing the stress? Do you know, some of the things that you need to put in your toolbox to help you with the stress when the stress comes? And those things that I just mentioned were not things that I used to do in personal training. It was just get in the gym, get the diet. And there's so much more to that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the reason why I asked you if you were working mostly with women is I feel like so much of everything that you just named, which is also important, is even more important when it comes to female aesthetics and getting a female's body to kind of quote, be healthy, a mind and, emotion health, being aligned as well, because women are more sensitive to stressors. Women are more sensitive to sleep because of how our hormonal construct is. Our hormones get out of whack with high stress. And then we're dealing with hormonal imbalances, which can affect just about everything. So if you're constantly pushing and working out hard and eating less, then a woman is typically going to have a harder time with that than a man, I believe, at least in the short term. But I love what you said about like the protein, because like there's this, big emphasis on eat more protein, which yes, if you want to build lean muscle, protein's important. But if someone's really stressed, they're probably not gonna be able to digest that protein all that. And then it's going to lead to gas and bloating. And are they stressed because they're not sleeping well? Or are they stressed because, it's their lifestyle? And it sounds like you're digging into all of those things, and it can make such a difference. And do you see it make a great difference in what outcomes you're getting with these, aesthetically speaking, or even just how much happier and well-balanced their life is? What kind of results you're seeing as far as,
yes. I mean, definitely less inflammation because, working out creates inflammation. So if you're working out 6 days a week, you're chronically, your body's in chronic state of inflammation. There's no time for recovery, rest and recovery. And that is hard for some people. It can be hard for me. And so I have to tell myself, this yoga or this walking is just as important as that HIIT workout. And so it's also changing people's mindset to believe that as well. Because that can be, that could be an escape, that can be an addiction. And so again, that's why, that mindset piece is really important. And I will also say, I get a lot of women who have hormone issues. And so taking the hormone test and seeing the snapshot of, really what's going on resonates with them and also helps them kind of see how everything works together.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. The hormones can be such an important part. And the testing, the beauty in the testing is, like you said, they see, okay, this is where the imbalances are. And sometimes, to change a mindset, right? You have to maybe show a little quantitative data. Like, look, your body is really stressed. These high levels of cortisol are increasing inflammation.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I really try to start my clients on the detox. And I also recommend that they don't really work out during that detox. So their body can do what it needs to do and give them that rest and really focus on detoxing the liver. And when they do it and they see, one, they're getting results, they're feeling better, they have more energy, they're sleeping better. that gives them the momentum as well.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The detox is a great momentum builder.
Yes.
Sure. Yes, because it basically brings somebody kind of back to baseline and really just kind of resets, cleans the system out. I want to go back to the mindset piece because I think that's so important. One of the interview that I just had before you, we were talking a whole lot about how, you know, in that process of like, I should do the hit or I should be more productive. Walking doesn't feel productive enough because it's not hard, right? Yoga doesn't feel productive enough because you're relaxing, right? We're in this mindset, I think, as a culture of like, we have to do more to be more. And if we're doing more, that adds more value, right, to us as an individual. To if I'm working hard at this goal, then I'm going to reach it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about kind of being like, where is that coming from? Is that like a perfectionist tendency? You said, oh, it can become an addiction, which are you thinking? I have so many clients that say like, oh no, you don't understand. I can't lower my workouts because this is how I manage my stress.
Right.
You're not really managing your stress with working out. You're just distracting yourself from stress with working out. And so getting real about that conversation and what it means to use exercise as an outlet, right? Are we doing it in a healthy way?
Right.
And it sounds like you're helping your clients kind of see that one, all exercise isn't created equal, right? Yoga and walking is serving a different purpose than maybe a HIIT workout, but everything is needed, right? We kind of need it all, but it has to be in proper balance.
Yeah. And one thing I have found, and it's I feel like the main reason why sometimes personal training has been so hard for me is the mindset. I believe that it is honestly the foundation. And if you can work through the mindset, the traumas, self-limiting beliefs, comparison, all those things that shouldn't hold us back or things that, even drive us, take away from our body healing itself. And so if we don't have the foundation and then we are going out and we're killing ourselves in these workouts and we're not having the intention of, well, I'm going to go work out because it makes me feel good. I want to nourish my body. It's good for me, instead of having, well, I got to get ready for this wedding, or I want to look like this person on Instagram, or this is my only 30 minutes of sanity a day or an hour. Then we've got to kind of, peel it back and really get to the root cause of, you're back to your why again. And I'm actually in the process of going back to school to be a professional counselor in mental health, because I felt like I was just getting to like a fork in the road a lot of times. And I found myself recommending my clients, well, maybe get a counselor, to kind of help with those things.
Yeah, I could not agree more. The mindset, and again, we were just talking about this, it can sometimes be everything. When that is off, and it typically will kind of create which direction we're operating from, right? Are we operating from fear and scarcity and we're not good enough if we're not a size 2 at the wedding because, right? Or is it that you're doing it because are you putting in or are you taking away, right? Are you doing it from a place of love of I deserve this time. I deserve this, nourishment for my body. This is a good, I'm building strength. There's so many ways that we can come to it, but our body internalizes and gets results according to where we're approaching it from is my belief.
So I completely agree. In regards to the mindset piece, a couple years ago, I would say 2 years ago, I was suffering from weight gain, and I was exercising, I was eating right. I had all these things in my toolbox to know, what to do, but the weight just was not coming off. And that was when I really kind of dug deep into the mindset piece. How am I speaking to myself? Do I believe that, I could get this weight off, because I was in a place of, I just didn't know what to do. I felt like I was doing everything. And so I feel like when I was able to really change my mindset, things just became clearer. And then I actually found out that I had insulin resistance. And so that was helpful to know that, okay, well, there is a reason. But I felt like to get there for some reason, I had to have that belief. It was, that was just kind of the lesson of the situation of, where I needed to go, was just having that belief, being kinder to myself. And, sometimes we may be in seasons where we may not love the way things are going, but just maybe accepting that this is where I am right now and what can I do in this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Do you find that when you bring this up to clients, or you kind of like get a hunch that like, ooh, I think we need to work on mindset, are a lot of clients receptive to it? Do you find that it's kind of a hard, piece to crack with some clients? What do you see for success when you approach it?
A lot of times they agree, and sometimes it's a situation where, yeah, well, I did have a counselor a few years ago, and I'm trying to find someone else. So a lot of times they have the knowledge that it's important and that they need it, and we tend to go deeper into it sometimes because I'm not, a counselor. I can only do so much. But I do recommend books and podcasts that kind of to get them started. But even being a personal trainer, sometimes you feel like a counselor. I mean, I'm sure you can relate to that, Yeah. So, it goes hand in hand. And I feel like I want to be able to really like combine that fitness and counseling aspect. And I feel like I can get some really great results. I can reach more people, combining, being a counselor in mental health, and then IHP and personal training. I mean, you can just get it all in one place.
Yes. Yeah. It's all tied in, right? Like exercising improves mental health in such an important way, right? But mental health improves our outcomes physically, right? Everything is tied in together. And I think, the beauty of IHP is the whole body approach that, Dr. Cabral takes to everything is connected, versus, going to a psychologist and going to just a personal trainer and going to, a nutritionist, and them not knowing anything about the other, right? I completely agree, which is why I said I loved like holistic personal trainer, because it really does allow somebody to kind of work on everything all at once, so that the whole system is running on all cylinders, because all of that stuff is connected anyways.
Yeah. And that's how I got into the mindset, was his mindset Monday. Is it Mindset Motivation Mondays or something to that extent? But that's when I was like, oh, this is what I need. This is another piece to the puzzle, that I was missing.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it, as we're talking, another amazing point is that, you can just continue to grow and get better as a health professional, right? Like, so you got your IHP and you were personal training, and then you were like, wait a minute, there's still like this missing link. And then that's the whole mindset thing came to be, right? I think we can get in this place of thinking of like, okay, I know what I know now, and like, now I'm just going to go implement it. But the beauty of our field is there's always more to learn. There's always ways to kind of continue to be bettering ourselves and working on, the kind of coach that's showing up for our clients. And that's kind of the beauty in showing them like, listen, this is like a journey. It's not this destination of like, when I get there, then it's just all over. Right. It's constant. I think it is
evolve. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, it's not linear. There's there's ups and downs. And I think one journey kind of sets you up for the next journey. And that's the cool part. You know, a lot of times people, you know, feel like, well, this is it, but it's probably not. It's probably just setting you up for something else. And, you know, even with fitness, you know, the scale or that size that you want, that's not it. You know, like maybe you are supposed to help someone else, or maybe you are supposed to, you know, get to the help with your mindset.
So I know you mentioned the Mindset Mondays and how that was kind of, you know, something that helped you step into this space of how the mindset, you know, can contribute to financial, to physical transformation. Are there other resources that you love that you would share with listeners who might be interested in kind of this connection as far as podcasts or books, anything that?
Yeah. So I follow Dr. Nicole LaPera on Instagram, and she always has great things on trauma, attachment. I mean, anything in the healing realm, she kind of talks about, and she has some great books, how to do the work. And she also has workbooks that I like. A book that I recently just listened to is The Mountain Is You.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was really good. And then Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, Dr. Dispenza, and he has like meditations on YouTube. And so he's a really good resource as well.
Yes. Yeah. Those are Dr. Dispenza and Nicole are definitely two favorites of mine. I haven't heard a whole lot. I know I'm familiar with the book, The Mountain Is You, but I have not read it. But now that you mentioned it, I'm going to put it on my list. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was a good one. And it was only about 5 hours, which is, you know, doable. Sometimes the 10-hour books are really good, but sometimes I'm like, okay, if I just kind of want something that is a little bit quicker. So that one was a good listen.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Integrative Health Coach Success Podcast. This is such a great interview. I appreciate you sharing everything that you did with the listeners, and I appreciate you being here.
Yes, thanks for having me. And I hope that they found what we talked about useful. I think they will. So thank you again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye.